Well, it's good to be back here. We had the RMAC Championships this last weekend down in Colorado Springs. And in typical Colorado fashion, if you looked at the weather for the 3 days, including the championships, it was quite the jumble. It was about 40 degrees when we did our pre-meet on Friday. And Saturday, it was probably 55 degrees at race time. It was about 70 for the high that day, and I'm told that it snowed the next day. So Colorado, you know what you're going to get because it's just going to keep changing on you all the time. And sometimes that's what the RMAC feels like too. Is you know what you're going to get. You're going to get good competition, but you don't know who's going to bring it. And this was a great meet as usual. And we had a few COVID twists and turns thrown at us and some other teams, having to make some last-minute substitutions here and there. But overall, it was a strong weekend for us. We didn't run quite as well as we'd hoped, but the good thing was that we didn't see a major fall-off either. So the men finished 10th. We knew that we would be somewhere in that 6 to 10 range, and didn't quite have the pack as strong as we would have liked to have been. There were a few things that contributed to that. We did have one of our guys that went down at about 120 meters into the race. There was a big old pileup that happened, and they only do a recall at 100 meters. So all those guys that wound up getting caught up in that kind of had their day thrown for a loop right away, and we didn't quite bounce back from that as well as we would have liked, but we did see some good stuff. Tim Dunham came in as our #1 guy. He was by far the highest we've ever had somebody place. Finished 38th overall in the RMAC meet. That's the highest we've had a guy finish on the men's side, and beat some pretty good runners to do it. And so what that did for him as well is it also qualified him for the D2 Cross Country National Invitational down in Lubbock, Texas here in about 3 weeks. So we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. But on the women's side, we knew that we were going to be around 10th or 11th, and didn't quite break our way. We finished 11th. I think nerves kind of got us a little bit on Saturday, and overall we ran a pretty good race. Taylor Bright ran a fantastic day. She finished, had one of the highest finishes we've ever had from our women as well. She came in around 58th, which puts her right in line with some ladies that are on our track record boards. So that bodes really, really well for us for the future. Probably the surprise of the weekend for me was Abby Celine. Abby came in. She's been running around our #5 all season, and she was running in that 5-6 slot pretty much the entire race, and came out. She actually was our fourth. She was our, find her here real quick in the results for you. Yeah, she was our 4th on the day, but just barely. She was just behind Alyssa Frankie by 2 seconds, and that's a huge jump for somebody to be able to come in and move that much up the field in the last 2K is a huge thing. And so it was really, really exciting for her, and I think sets a really good tone for us as we move forward. We're pretty excited about this group, both on the men's side and the women's side. I think there's some really good things. We have we're pretty young overall, and so that bodes pretty well for us for the future as well. I know on our guys' side we've got some pretty good depth, and we just have to get more confident in these big races so that we can run well and be able to finish strong. With that national invite, I'll kind of jump over to that real quick as well. That's something that some of the coaches came together in the 7 conferences that are still standing and said, hey, we want to try and put something together that gives these kids a chance, a bit of a reward, a carrot, if you will, for the end of the season. And so that was something that Tim had to qualify into, and he was the #2 individual out of the RMAC to qualify into that. They took the top 6 teams and the top 6 individuals that weren't on a qualifying team, and so he was the #2 guy qualifying into that, and we're pretty excited for that opportunity. So we'll head down to Texas for that in a couple weeks here.
Okay, Coach Johnson, I have a couple questions for you before we bring up your special guest. It looked like the runners were chipped during the RMAC championships. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so behind their bibs there's actually a chip, and some of the kids don't like it because in cross country it's tradition to come in and crinkle up your jersey and mess it, or your bib before you put it on, and some people think it fits better that way too. Well, now they have these big old chips that go behind the bib. But what it does, it allows for a few things. It allows us to be able to get intermediate splits on kids, so they'll run across. You see in the picture that they've got blue mats out. They run across these mats and they pick up kind of like an RFID signal, and by picking up that radio signal, they're able to put in live scoring for us. They're able to give us a little bit more information as we go forward with the race. And it makes it a lot faster when it comes time to score things out at the end of the day too. So instead of cross country taking 45 minutes to sort everything out at the end, they can have it done in about 10 minutes.
Okay, well, good deal. Now going back to the national invite, how is that an 8K race as well? That's
actually going to be a 10K race. They wanted to model it as much as possible off of the national meet formula, and so we're going to get to run 10K there.
And does the NCAA have anything to do with it? Is it sanctioned?
It is allowed within the NCAA rules. It's just not an NCAA sponsored meet.
All right, and then how many people or how many runners are you expecting?
You know, we're really not sure yet. Some conferences, some schools have restrictions on whether or not they're going to be allowed to travel, but I think it'll be a pretty good turnout. I think we'll probably see, I'm hoping that we'll see at least 15 or 20 teams there, and hopefully we can get most of that individual field down there.
And what's happening with the cross country team in the off season?
Yeah, so right now, aside from Tim and a few people that are working on some rehab protocols, everybody's taking the week off. Some people will take up to 2 weeks off, and then we're going to start building our base up and start getting ready for the indoor track season. We're still hopeful. The NCAA says we're still going to have an indoor national, and the RMAC's telling us we're going to have an indoor conference, so we're hopeful that those are going to happen. So we're going to go ahead and get ready and plan and do everything as if it's all going to happen, and keep our fingers crossed.
Okay, and this question just came in. Do we lose any seniors from this year's cross-country team?
We do. We lose Joel Haas is probably the big one. Joel is already committed to an opportunity to go into the Navy after this, so we'll lose him. We'll lose Tim Myers, Chase Wood, and it looks like we'll probably lose Ben Collin as well. So pretty big hit for us in some ways. These are the guys that have kind of been the core of this group over the last 4 or 5 years, and so it's definitely going to be disappointing to see them go, but we've got them still for track season right now, and we're going to try and give them the best send-off we can.
Okay, thanks, Coach. That's all the questions I had for you. Do you want to introduce your guest now?
Yeah, I'm going to bring over Tim Dunham here. As I mentioned, Tim was our #1 guy at the meet on Saturday. Tim's been our #1 most of the season. Put in a ton of miles this summer. If there was an uphill in the hills, he probably ran it this summer at some point. So I'm going to let him introduce himself now.
Tim Dunham. I'm a junior chemical engineer. I'm from Grand Forks, North Dakota initially. Yeah.
Just tell us how you decided to come to South Dakota Vines.
I originally did a year at UND back in North Dakota, and I didn't really like it there, D1 school. So I just decided halfway through the year to come here, a little bit smaller for school, hoping to get more opportunities here, and I have.
All right, and then just kind of go through the race from Saturday. Just tell us about how you did and how you did it.
Well, let's see. It started out pretty fast. Some of the mine students cutting around a little corner right away in the beginning, so I decided to go out with them. And found myself right in the lead pack right away, and so I decided just to stay there. First mile went out not too fast. It was like a 5 flat, and then I started falling off from there. Slowed down the pace a little bit, I don't think that going out that fast was too big of a mistake, but I guess the altitude just got me. And yeah, I just couldn't hang on with it.
Okay, and that was the next question. Altitude was a factor for you?
Yeah, last year I think the race was around 4,500 feet. This year it was like 6,000.
Me too.
So that made quite a big of a difference.
Okay, and you have 2 more years here at South Dakota Mines?
Yes.
And what do you plan to do with your degree once you go out to the real world?
Right now I'm planning on going into mining, so like separation processes, metallurgy. Yeah, just trying to get an internship every year.
Okay, and looking forward to the national meet, what are kind of your goals or expectations for that?
Place-wise, I have no idea because I don't know who's going to be there. But time-wise, I have a few goals. Probably below 32s, maybe under 32. Don't really know what the course is going to look like though. So.
Sure. Have you ran 10K before, collegially?
Yeah, I ran 2. I ran 1 back at UND for the regional meet, and then last year at the regional meet was the 10K.
All right, and elevation shouldn't be a factor in this race, correct?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, that's all the questions I have for you. Thank you guys for your time today.
Thank you.
And Coach, is there anything else you want to leave us with before you head off into the off season?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing that I just want to say is just I'm really proud of the way these guys have worked. They put a lot of time and effort in, and it's very clear, it's very obvious, not just to me but to other coaches in the league, that this is a program that's on the up and up. And I think we're moving in the right direction. We just have to keep plugging away and doing what we're doing. These guys are figuring out real fast that hard work pays off, and that's the message we always want to send them off with.
All right, thank you very much, Coach.
All right, thank you.
We are curious. We are tenacious. We've got what it takes to change the world. As one of the nation's premier engineering, science, and technology universities, South Dakota Mines is at the forefront of what's next. We embrace challenges, we let our curiosity lead, and we build a confidence supported by teamwork and collaboration. From our beginnings as a mining school to our status today as a world-class engineering and science university, South Dakota Mines continues to transform our students, our communities, and our world. South Dakota Mines, advancing the frontier of innovation.
Hello, Hardrocker Nation. Charlie Flohr with football. Just want to give you guys a quick update with our football program. Obviously coming off a big weekend last weekend down in Colorado Mesa. Very proud of our kids and how they responded coming back after a tough loss at Chadron. Put together a good week of preparation for that Colorado Mesa game. Knew it was going to be a short week just because of our travel, having to go down to Grand Junction and leaving a day early. But our kids handled it well and responded well. Came out and played with a lot of energy, a lot of passion, a lot of fire, and it was really, really good for them to see. Was able to kind of start fast in that football game with, an interception early, and the momentum just kind of carried us out through the rest of the game. So, we had a lot of people step up and playing that football game, which was really good to see. All week long we continued to talk about a next man up mentality. Knowing with COVID times and how everything is going, it's going to take everybody affiliated with our football program to continue to get the job done. And, as you maybe have seen in that game, or we'll show in some highlights here, we had a lot of guys step up and make plays in that football game. So, so proud of our kids and how they responded all week long, heading into that game, knowing it was going to take, our best effort to go and beat a very good Colorado Mesa football team. So, extremely proud of our kids and how they handled themselves, as well as our staff, and getting our kids ready to go for that football game. So with that being said, let's go through a few highlights here. Great day to be down in Grand Junction. Obviously the weather was a little bit better down there than it was here in Rapid City. I hate to say it, but I actually got sunburned during the course of this football game. So start off the football game with a interception, pick 6 by Dominic Jackson. It was great for him, and for me to see, a senior kid that's done this year from Colorado, able to make a really big momentum changing play for us. We talked all week long about how we got to go into that game and start fast, and we were able to do that. Big conversion here on 3rd down. Great throw and read by Spencer Zerr to Anthony Orich going down the sideline. and getting us really out of some bad field position from their punt team pinning us deep. So that was great to see. Another big third down conversion, which really led to our first offensive score. Spencer stepping up, hitting a maul, dragging across the middle of the field, getting us down to essentially the half-yard line, and we were able to punch it in here. Great to see our kids finish down in the red zone. That was one thing we continued to talk about offensively, is we got to get points. We got to get 7 points down there instead of field goals. So it was good for me to see our guys go down and finish with the touchdown there. A lot of great plays on defense. I was so happy for our kids. They really stepped up. That was a big fourth down stop that our defense made, the week before against Shatter. We didn't make those plays, and our kids did this week. You can see the energy, the enthusiasm for our teammates, for one another, and celebrating that big stop. Big field goal for us right before half, giving us essentially a 3-possession lead going into halftime, knowing we were going to get the ball back, at the start of the second half. So. And then here, again, big play by Gavin coming from the weak side and a big stop, giving our offense another opportunity to put points on the board. So really proud of our defense and how they handled themselves this past week and getting themselves off the field. Great interception here by Adrian Eastman. Had a great game, filling in, doing some different things. And, we were able to get 3 turnovers in that football game, and that was one of them there. Very heads-up play by our defense right here. In the third quarter, the ball was thrown backwards. The whistle never blew, so Ian Arnold actually stripped the ball out of the running back's hands, picked it up, and only getting 5 yards. But again, for us, that was great to see. Our guys were able to make plays. Cooper Fargan right here coming in and making a big play. He had to step up in the absence of Will Carroll at the Mike linebacker position. So, he made a lot of great plays, and was really happy for him. Big third down conversion here, kind of the Zur to Zur connection. Those guys hooked up quite a bit this weekend, and it was great to see. Again, big opportunity for us to continue to move the chains. 2nd and 1 situation, big throw down the field to Isaiah Eastman, a freshman for us, coming and making a great play. Then we quick tempoed them real fast. They weren't aligned correctly, and we were able to get into the end zone one last time in the third quarter to give us a 3-possession lead. So again, very happy for how our guys finished during the course of this football game as the game went on when we were down in the red zone. Again, another great job by our defensive line. I think Brian could have had 8 tackles on the day, 2 tackles for loss, and then 1 was a sack there. So, they did a great job of putting pressure on the quarterback, which we knew we had to do. The week before, that quarterback, had a really good day, and we knew we were going to have to get hits on that quarterback. So, all in all, just a great team effort. I can't say enough positive things about, how our kids responded within that road trip, how they responded on the field. Had a lot of great messages from people within Hardrocker Nation, just, how good it was to see our kids play with so much passion and so much energy. And those are the things we talked about the week before, after our tough loss down in Chadron. We talked about those things. We got to celebrate everything that happens for us, because we are in such unique times, and there's not a lot of people experiencing the things that we're getting to experience right now, and we got to make the most of our opportunities and play with a lot more energy and play with passion and celebrate with our teammates. And in that game, I think our kids did that. So for us, it's just now we got to continue it into this week, and facing a very tough Chadron State opponent that's coming up here, and we're excited about that. Another opportunity to play them here. So, Brad, if you have any questions for me, I'd love to answer them.
I do. I have a lot of questions for you, actually. So, this one actually comes from our former athletic director, Dick Kaiser. And he asked, the Rockers have never won at Grand Junction before as a member of the RMAC. What part of the game plan do you feel made the biggest difference on Saturday to get the big win?
We talked about it Saturday after the Chadron State loss. We talked, in the end zone over there, and we made a lot of great plays in that football game. But I think, the big thing that we talked about after that game was it's a belief system. Our kids got to continue to believe that they're a good football team. Mistakes are going to happen, and we can't hang our heads. And that was the message for them all week long. It's just you got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in your teammates. You got to believe that the guy next to you is going to do everything that he possibly can during that football game to make things happen. And and then just the general excitement, the energy that I think our kids were able to display during the course of that football game. And we talk all the time. It's you got to do your 1/11th within the football game, but you got to enjoy every minute of it. Because football is supposed to be fun, and you gotta have the excitement and the celebrations within each individual play. So, maybe that's kind of a cliche coach's answer, but I could really tell a difference from week 2 to week 3 just in regards to our energy and how much our kids cared about one another. And that goes a long way through the course of the football game. And sometimes we may not be the most talented team that's going to show up on the field every day, but if we play for one another and play with that fire and passion, that kind of trumps a lot of things. So I was just really excited for those kids and how they responded. And ultimately, I think that's what won us that football game.
All right, and next question is, Shadron essentially had a bye week this last week. Do you feel there's a disadvantage going into this game after losing to them last week?
For us, it's an opportunity for us to continue to get better. We're going to look at what we did 2 weeks ago in Shadron State and, figure out schematically things that we can change. We've talked about it all week long. We've got to, at least offensively, not turn the ball over. Defensively, we got to get them off the field on third downs, eliminate the explosive plays that they were able to get. And, again, just continue to focus on ourselves. From our standpoint, it was an opportunity for us to get better last week, and I felt we did that as a football team and as a program in general. And now our kids should be excited. We got another opportunity to play a home game here in Rapid City, against a very quality opponent with Shadron State. And, we just got to go out and play. And, I feel very, happy and fortunate that we are in this position, and our kids are going to be excited for another opportunity to play them.
All right, next question is, when Johansson is healthy again, will he be back as a starter, or will you stick with Zur?
We're going to continue to let those guys compete. That's the great thing about football in general. And, it's all about competition. And those guys battled it out all fall camp. And, at that point, Jaden was our guy, and that's who we went with. And, there were some situations that came up. Then Spencer was our starter last week, and he did a phenomenal job. So when we do get everybody back healthy again, we're going to show up every single day and treat everybody like, they have to be a starter. In COVID times, we've got to give everybody within our program as many quality reps as we can, whether you're a fifth-year senior or a true freshman coming into our program. And, not knowing until, Thursday or Friday who you're potentially going to have. So, we're going to continue to give everybody quality reps and just kind of see where things go out. And then, once we get everything done and finalized at the end of the week, we'll put the best product we feel on the field at that time.
All right, and now for the third consecutive week, we've gotten some RMAC recognition. Do you want to speak about that?
Yeah, from the RMAC, we really appreciate the RMAC and what they're doing for us and allowing us to play and then giving these guys some weekly awards. So, we were the only game this week in the RMAC, and, so for us it was, that was great. Start with Dominic Jackson, had, like I said, a phenomenal game defensively with the interception, pick 6 for us, and then did a lot of other things, on the field. That was great to see. Ahmad Lewis, as the course of the game went on, got stronger and stronger, and he was able to break some runs and help us out on some third downs. And then, kind of the unsung hero in that football game was Casey Knudsen with his special teams play. And, Casey did a phenomenal job of pinning those guys within the 20-yard line 4 different times within his 7 punts. So, it was a full team effort, like I said before. With the special teams, the offense and the defense, we really had to play together all 3 phases and try and put our best game together. And, we were able to do that, and ultimately we came out with a win because of that.
All right, Coach, that's all the questions I had for you today. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts for me is, again, just continue to appreciate everybody and what they've done getting our football program up to this point. I'm still getting a lot of messages and a lot of texts from a lot of people's, telling me and the rest of our staff and our school how fortunate we are to be in this position. And I can't thank our people around here enough. And it probably gets a little bit old hearing that from me, but it's a special time here in Rapid City and at South Dakota Mines because we are fortunate. So hopefully the weather's supposed to be great this weekend. Would love to see our stands packed and full on Halloween night here against Chapman State. I know they're going to bring a great crowd, and would love to see our Hardrocker Nation come out and fully support our kids this Saturday. So look forward to seeing everybody out here at 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon with those horns honking. Thank you very much, and go Hardrockers.
All right, thank you, Coach, and good luck this week.